Hi, everybody, and welcome to Not an Island podcast. This is Todd
and Amanda.
And we have a very awesome episode for you today with some good friends of ours, Jeff and Jessica. Say hi.
Hello.
Hello.
They are awesome. So they have this line for merch for people, families affected by autism. It's called Autism Superhero.
That's amazing.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna let you guys tell kind of what it's all about.
Oh, sorry. So we created this brand, the Autism Superhero, because of my son. My son is 6 years old, who's diagnosed with autism and nonverbal. So basically, for us, we consider our son, a little superhero amongst, many other children. And for my son, it was just hard for us to, kind of be out in public and have him play with other kids, and for other kids his age or younger to understand, what is going on with him, from typically a child asking, oh, why doesn't he speak, and things like that. So as a mom, of course, it crushed my heart. And how do you explain to another child his age, what's going on, or he has autism, and them not being understanding. So, just many little life, I guess, the skills that we've come across. And for my son, I just wanted to create something where he's not being judged, or other kids are not being judged. And we came up with the concept of a superhero because he's our superhero.
Yeah,
so one thing led to the next. It snowballed, and we created many different superheroes: boy, girl, mom of, superhero, dad of, family of, friends of, and teachers, and so forth. So we definitely do have a very selection. And recently we just dropped another merch, a sweater for moms that says Autism Mom on the collar. You can get your child's name on the sleeve with the puzzle piece. So they're all custom orders. So these are definitely for the moms, oversized sweaters, comfy and warm.
Yeah,
so,
I need to get one.
We're expanding.
I love it.
Yes. So we just started little by little, and we got a good feedback with the superhero shirts. So we decided to start catering, to moms, and just going from there and seeing how everything goes.
Awesome.
So awesome.
So that's
and you can check us out on Instagram is the Autism Superhero.
Yes, go follow them.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna put it down here.
Yeah, put it
on
in
the
the
bottom.
link.
You guys can see it. Whoever's watching, you can see it. Go give them a follow. Show them some love.
Yeah.
And let's support them.
I
Let's
just
support what
want
they're
to say
doing.
too, I love that idea so much, to make something that's relatable to other children, because it's hard for our kids to connect with other kids sometimes. And I think that's so incredible. And that you have a way to explain it to them that they're drawn in a cool way. Like, oh, you're a superhero.
Right.
Me too. I love that so much.
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Yeah, so I think it's a pretty cool thing. So whether you're autistic or not, just a child seeing another child with a superhero shirt, it's attracting.
Yes.
They see it, they want to know more. And, it's pretty cool. So, and like I said, we have to cater for everybody. Even if you're not on the spectrum, you could support and say friend of.
Yeah.
And you're also wearing a shirt as well.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea. So you touched a little bit on your story, kind of what made you start this. So we're going to get into y'all's story a little bit more, if y'all are cool with that.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
tell us about yourselves. Tell us.
So basically I became a first-time mom to my son, who became autistic. We found out around 2.5-ish. 2.5-ish. And of course, being a first-time mom, it's already challenging and scary, not knowing what's going on, having a baby, and then add, a label, however you want to call it, or them telling you that something's wrong. At the time, I had no idea what that was. I didn't know anything about autism. I just didn't know anything. I was completely clueless, on top of me trying to navigate being a first-time mom, right? And, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what exactly it was. And, we took him to the doctors. We took the proper channels and things like that. I guess you would say the day that we found out finally his diagnosis and things like that, our world kind of spinned a little bit. Yeah. We had to kind of, sit down, talk about it, regroup, figure out what's going on, I want to say at the time it was very important for me to know how and why. Yeah. But as you know now in time, sometimes you don't know why or how. You just got to do what you got to do. I want to say it didn't take us for like a big turn where I felt like there was friction in our marriage or like any in denial or like anything negative. Mm-hmm. I think if anything, it was more so for me as a mom, and I don't know if other moms can relate. It was more of me trying to get the proper help that I needed to push forward for my son, because I did have a lot of self-blame.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was my fault no matter what he said or family said or anything.
Sure. Right.
So I had to take that time to give myself that grief or pity party, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And then I had to give myself a little pep talk like, self, you can't do this. You got to keep going. We got to figure it out and push from there. So I feel like him and I work really well. Mm-hmm. We do what we have to do in order for our son. Anything that comes regarding our son, we're on the same page, or we try to come together. He'll tell me like, hey, I found this, or I'll tell him the same thing. And we always just have really good common ground. So we're always very, we communicate very well when it comes to that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So guys.
And just to chime in on that, it was from the dad's perspective, right? It was kind of hard seeing mom go through that. Right, a lot of the self-blame and stuff like that. So I was just trying to be encouraging and trying my best to let her know that is nothing that she could have done to change the outcome. Right. Yeah. So it was hard, at first, and then once we started doing more and more research, and me and her started coming together and brainstorming of how we were gonna handle this and move forward. We got the ball rolling, and we just kept going. Yeah.
Never look back.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
Never look back.
And it hasn't slowed you guys down. Like, you're out here making differences.
Yes.
And
I think if anything, during a hard time, it kind of made it like a productive and more of a powerful thing for us. So we cried, we went through it, we felt through it. We got ourselves back up, and then we said, okay, this is our life. We can't cry about it. I can't be sad about it. What are we going to do? And, anything, me and him are on the same page. Anything to help our son, we're all full forward. And if anything, I had to just figure it out. And now it's just become a positive thing where I don't want another mom to feel that way, or a family. Right. And I don't want anybody to feel that way, because yes, being in this autism community could feel so big but so small at the same time. And each story or each person sharing something is helpful, because whether you have accepted it or not, we're all in this together.
Yeah, and really, the sooner you accept that, the better off you'll be.
The better it is. Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
For sure.
I think the fact that you guys went head to head with the hard time and with the feelings of guilt and everything, and came out on the other side. I think that just speaks volumes. And you can't properly advocate and do the things that you guys are doing now without having that,
Right.
It's a part, I think, a part of everyone's journey. Like, this is not like butterflies and roses. It's hard,
Yeah. Well, and the adage, like, it's not exactly to this, but it works with this, is that, if you don't heal well, then you'll end up bleeding all over people who never cut you, You've got to have a healed heart to be able to move mountains for your children, to be able to be in a place where you can stand in the gap for them. And this community of families with autism, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wish that definitely is true. And I wish I would have listened or accepted that sooner. Mm-hmm. One thing I will say I have guilt on to this day, and if I could do things over, I would, is because everything that you're saying, agree 100% now, but at the time, as much, as I said, as much people would say it's not your fault, or you got to be positive because you got to be his advocate and you got to do it, it's like I felt stuck, and I was like, you don't know how I feel, and until I don't get over this hump, I can't be that person who I want to be. So I wish that I would have snapped into it sooner, just because I think I spent more time self-blaming me and kind of like not pitying him, but just feeling so bad that I wasn't full head forward and trying to find, not a solution, but trying to be like, okay, what's next? Do we do early intervention? Do we do this? Do we do that? You know what I mean? But like you said, you have to heal, because if you don't heal, you're not moving forward. So it might have took me a little longer, and for whatever that reason is, but just to come out on the other side, like Amanda said, at that time, I don't think I saw that light at all.
Yeah.
And now that I'm out on the other side, I'm like, wow, like it's possible. Like you can do it.
Yeah, we've definitely been there.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
100%.
100%.
And I think it's crucial though that you go through that. You don't try to rush over it, even though sometimes I wish I would have been out of it sooner.
I don't even think you can.
You can't.
Yeah. I don't even think you can, because as much as I think I would want to rush it, I don't think so. I just think it's a feeling that you're stuck, and until whatever it is, however it is that you're going to cope with it, until you don't cope 100%, you're not going to see that light. So whether you rush it or not, I just don't think that's going to happen.
It's funny. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. My bad.
No. I just wanted to say I had to give her mom some credit over here, because even though she was going through that, she was still moving forward, trying to find solutions and trying to find the therapies and trying to find the help, because he did get into early intervention.
Yeah, he did. He
pretty
got
early,
in pretty
right?
early, yeah.
And even with that, it was hard for him to be, with teachers or with like the therapist. So mom would have to like step out the room.
Oh, I know it.
So he can concentrate, right? So he can concentrate.
I know those days.
She was going through her, her thing still, but she was still moving forward and trying to find the therapist and the help that she was.
Yes. It's hard to see them come in and shake up their what's comfortable to them. It's I'd have to go in the other room and let tears go down my face sometimes, because I'm like, is this necessary? But it made so much of a difference in our kid's life that I'm like, I would do it all over again.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So two things real quick. Yeah. If you're watching this right now, I want you to leave a comment down below. What is your struggle? What are you dealing with right now that you need someone to stand in the gap with you for and be there with you? We want every single comment someone leaves, we're going to respond, and we want to find a way to help you if at all possible, whether it's through prayer, whether it's just through reaching out, whether it's finding people in your local community. Like I know Amanda and I know Jeff and Jessica, y'all don't want other people to remain in that spot where you guys were at and where we were at. Like that's a tough spot,
Right.
It's hard. And I remember when I was going through this, I personally do not remember doctors or anybody telling me like, hey, here's a support group. Hey, join this. Hey, we know this. I don't remember any of that. I had to
all
do
the
it myself.
legwork was on you.
Yeah. And for me, my life has changed drastically, whether it was, professionally, emotionally, like to the point where, both him and I both went to college. We both worked in our, in our fields. After I had my son, I became a stay-home mom. But like the way my life was turning, I was like, wait a minute, like how, like all I knew was my corporate 9 to 5.
Yep. Yeah.
So I became a yoga instructor. And for me, that helped me also through my journey with him. And then to the point where now I'm a certified life coach, and
that's so awesome.
It really fulfills and fills my cup that I don't want people to feel that way, because I know how it feels to feel alone or not have anybody to say, hey, let me give you a helping hand, or hey, I did the research for you, or I did this and I did that. So the fact that we both had to do our own work and heal and try to parent at the same time, if I can help somebody and save you 10 steps, then that's what I'm here for.
That's amazing. If there's someone that just resonated with you, reach out to her, because I really feel like
we're going to put her on the spot.
That's an incredible resource. That's an incredible resource right there. And I think so many people, they need someone who's been through it. They need someone to walk through them with it.
That's
sometimes.
the whole reason.
That's the whole reason we're doing this, because people don't have to be alone.
Yeah,
they don't have to be.
Yeah, and I try to help as many different avenues as I can. Again, I'm my son is 6 years old, so everybody's in different levels. I don't have a teen or I don't have an adult, but that's just a learning curve as we get older.
Yes.
But I do help a lot of moms and families, whether it's early intervention, whether it's IEPs for school, what are your rights,
Come on,
your
that's
504
awesome.
plan, like all that stuff, like whatever I know I have acknowledgement in, or I've been through, or I can help, that's where I come in to help these families or these parents, because I know how important it is. Or sometimes these parents don't have the resources, or it's hard for them, you know?
Sure.
So if I did the work, why not share it?
Absolutely.
Or why not help?
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Because there wasn't anything like that when I was going through. Like,
Yeah.
at least
No,
I didn't
me
know
neither.
about it if there was.
No,
you know?
me neither.
me
too. I don't feel like any of that was brought to my attention, or I didn't even know where to begin to look.
Right.
Yeah. And then my second thing is this. I'm going to put Jeff on the spot. Jeff, from a dad's perspective, how was that for you? Like the whole process of watching your son become who he is now, and like the struggles you went through, and the moments of celebration, and like how, if you could just sum it up, how did that look like for you?
That's a good question. I like it.
So in the very beginning, it was hard, right? But seeing her go through what she was going through with the self-blame and all that stuff, I kind of felt like I had to be like even keel, even though I am like that all the time. Like, to me, I lived a life like, things happen. Is either you're gonna dwell on it, or you're gonna try to find a solution, right? So my thing is, just let's move forward and try to find a solution. Yeah, you can't cry over spilled milk. We have to just clean it up and keep it moving, right? So that's how I feel. And that's how kind of like I always felt. And she always like looks at me like, you never, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's not that. I do feel, I do have feelings, and I do feel certain ways, right? But it's just that me showing, we both can't show it. That's how I feel, right? If we both show it, then how are we moving forward? We just gonna be stuck.
Yeah, someone's got to be the rock, and someone else has to be the sponge at times.
Yeah, I gotta. So if I gotta pick her up and help her, continue to do all the stuff that she does, and vice versa, one of us have to be right. So now, when it comes to Jackson, I just try to be my best to try to make him feel like a regular child, right? Like with the horseplay, with playing ball, with the the stuff like that. He likes all that stuff, so it's like I try to do it as much as I can, so he can feel as normal as I can. I mean, just me, growing up with brothers and stuff like that. So I already knew. So I just want him to feel that that same feeling.
Man, I feel you on that. That's my mission too, is for our son, for Ezra, just to know that like he's included, and that he doesn't have to be treated any different the most part than other children, and aside of accommodations.
It's wild because the therapists come in. I remember the occupational therapists like, banging pillows off of him and like wrapping him up in blankets and like doing all this stuff. And I'm thinking, all this looks like play, but it was what his body's craving. So when him and daddy start wrestling, it's like, it's actually therapeutic to them. Like those times are actually like what they need. I think that's so awesome.
For sure. It's that vestibular system,
Yeah. And I think to feed off of what he was saying was, just because a child is on the spectrum doesn't mean that people have to pity them or you have to treat them any different. Like my son has, 5 finger, like the 10 fingers, 10 toes, stuff like that. Like there's nothing else wrong. And, we try to give him, the liberty to pick and choose. Like, for example, he was horseback riding at one point. Great. And then he didn't want to do it anymore. That's fine. So it's like, I want him to live a life where he has tried everything like his sister would, right? And I don't want to take anything away from him. Now, if it's something that we know that I don't want to say that he cannot do, but might be challenging, or it's not something for him at this present moment, maybe me being just mom, I won't push him, but dad kind of also gauges and like, listen, like, you're being a mom right now. I know he could do it. And, and I'll step back. But for the most part, like he said, we try to give our son the normalist, easiest, like fun childhood that we could do, and let him kind of show us what his interests are, or whatever it is that he wants to do.
I love that. So I love what you just said so much, because I think with all the early intervention and all the things, and we just want our child to be the best version of themselves, it's like they're still a kid.
Yeah,
they're still a child, and they need to experience that normalcy just getting to be a kid.
And
I
not
love
that those therapies aren't good.
Yes.
I think they are, but I just feel like one thing that I noticed, everything is too structured, right? And again, we're being taught for them to be structured in a routine and a this and a that. That might work for some kids, but just because your child is autistic and it might work for one, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that for your child. So for me, my son, he doesn't work off a structure. Like, he's fine. Like, his teachers come up to me and they're like, I can't believe how, like, he doesn't get thrown off. Like, we'll travel. This little boy has been traveling since he's been 6 months, right? Different time zones, or, you know, he misses a nap, or we're on a different, you know, time frame, whatever it is, and he's fine.
That's so good.
He's fine. We don't need to do anything where we have to kind of regulate him or anything like that. It's very rare, but does he have, you know, certain sensitivities? Is he sometimes bothered with loud noises? Yes. And everything like that, what I do is I'm not going to pull him away from everything, but I will accommodate him, because in the real world, as much as I would love to be there for everything and protect him from everything, I can't,
That's the truth.
So the only thing that I could do is kind of prepare him a little bit for, like, okay, we're going to a birthday party, right? He's done so much better at being with the noise, but he's not too fond of the happy birthday song, right? So what do? Either bring headphones, take him out, or I see how he does, and sometimes he'll surprise me, he stays. And it's okay, because he's getting both of best worlds. Like, he's been in that setting, or we just remove him.
Yes.
That's all you have to do.
Sure.
But I'm not going to miss a birthday if he can handle it.
Right. I think that's what causes so many families to be isolated, is that they just shut down and they stop going to any of those things because what might happen, or what embarrassment.
And it's not fair to the child either.
Right.
Well, and you think too, like, how big of a deal it is for a child, even a neurotypical child, to be invited to a birthday party at that age.
It's a big deal.
That's pretty, honestly, it's not very common for children on the spectrum, children like our son.
And it breaks my heart. I know we've invited kids out to Ezra's party, and they're like, this is the first party that they've ever been invited to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that's a big deal. You're so right. Like, for him to be able to do those things and be invited and be part of those things.
That's huge.
That makes a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think for us, we've noticed it's helped how our son regulates transitions for sure.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
It's
I just think exposing them to those things, those normalities, right? Just exposing them to see how they are. Maybe they're okay with it. Maybe they're not, right? So you can't just, like you said, isolate yourself and be like, oh no, we can't go because of, you know.
Right. Well,
I kind of used to do that when he was little. When he was little, I'd be like, oh no, he doesn't like this, he doesn't like that. And then again, it had to hit me where I'm like, well, yeah, he's not going to like it, but if I don't try, he's not going to know anything else, right? And all I kept saying was, I can't do this to him because I'm doing a disservice, right? So what we would do is, when he was younger, all he wanted to do was just sit on my lap. He didn't want to play with anybody. He didn't want to do anything. So I said, look, we would have to make a game plan and say, look, if we're going to this birthday, start small. We're there. That's a huge step. But let him sit on my lap. It doesn't matter if he doesn't play. I don't care if he doesn't do anything. But the fact that we got in the car and we went to this birthday and we stayed the whole time, that's one big step. We will tackle everything later. Just stop pushing. Because, you know, sometimes, and I don't know if it's a dad thing, dads are like, oh no, let him go play. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, but at the same time, like, you have to give him his space.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let him slowly and gradually get there, because my fear is I don't want him to think that every time we leave the house or we go to a birthday, it's like, oh, I'm detached from mom now. I have to like, you know, somebody's going to force me to do something. But he does amazing now.
That's
so
amazing.
awesome.
That's cool.
And that's because you guys didn't hunker down and you guys let him have those experiences. I think that's so important as well.
Oh yeah. He's been very well experienced since a baby, and like I said, we picked and choose our battles. You know, we pick and choose what we're gonna do. You know, even if it's something that I'm like, okay, maybe it's not okay, I will still find the accommodations. But if it's something that we noticed that it was like not at all, we just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Y'all are awesome. I love that. That's such good advice to parents too.
It really is.
Sure.
People need to hear that. Okay.
Yes.
So, and we've already kind of worked our way into this, but on to the next question. What are the 3 best things that you guys can think of? What are the 3 best things about raising a child on the spectrum, in your opinion?
I would say the three best things is the challenge of it, and I'll go and I'll explain it. The challenge of raising a child with special needs, but also the challenge of being a mom and, you know, being parents to one. And then the acceptance is like something really happy for me. And then what would you say?
I would say just the experience, right? To learning a whole new community, helping, try to helping others from what from what you have already learned, or you're learning in each one teach one type mentality, right? So that's what I would think, because before Jackson, we didn't know anything about autism, right? So now it's like, now we see so many parents going through it, or so many families going through it, that we're willing to help, and share our experiences, and try to help as many parents or as many families as we can.
Absolutely. 100%. So,
and then the challenge in accepting for me, I believe for me is a high point and a positive thing, is because, again, we didn't know anything. And I feel like if somebody tells you like, hey, your life is going to be like this and like that before you even see it, for the most part, human nature, you're going to say, well, I don't want to live that life, or I don't want to do that, or I'm not going to do it, because it's scary, right? So since we live in a life of the unknown, no one knew that my son was going to be autistic, and it happened. So what am I going to do? So as far as the challenge, it really challenged me as a human, me as a person, me as a mom, and just me as myself, to say, wow, like if I felt life was tough before, I had a rude awakening. Like, this is hard. And I'm doing it, and I don't have a choice, because this is my life. This is my child. And especially being a first time mom, so the fact that this happened to me, and and the acceptance that, I accepted it, and I have the positive outlook for him, and I want nothing but the best for him, really puts me in a space that I'm like, this challenge that has been given to me, that, we still have a long way to go. It's like, I'm ready for it, and I'll keep pushing, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think anything can bring me down anymore. I don't think, I have a different outlook of myself, who I am as a human and who I am as a woman. Yes. And I feel like whatever this reasoning was for, or whatever gift is given to me, is just to prove my strengths and my superwoman powers of who I am meant to be in this life.
Superhero.
Yes. No, but I think you're onto something. The struggles in our life, like the hardships, I think they can really pull out the gold in us if we let them. They refine us, and they bring forth like all that patience you didn't know you had. Well, now you have more,
No, oh my God.
Truly. Yeah. And then like, I love what you said, Jeff, as well, because I feel the same way. We would not be as involved in this community. We wouldn't have a clue, honestly, had we not firsthand had experience. And it gives you a heart that you couldn't have had for those people.
Yeah.
It changes the way that you approach parents that are going through the same thing. And then you meet so many people you never would have met otherwise. There's just, it shapes your life in such a unique way.
It's crazy because,
and I think it might be a grounding point. Like sometimes, not even, and let's just say like, not our children, but sometimes, how things happen to us in life. We're like, oh, like, why did that happen? Right. Or like, you don't know why, but sometimes things ground you, things humble you, and it's for a reason, right? You might have not went through it physically, but like maybe just my son, to like what's going on with me and my family, maybe it was a purpose for me, I don't know, to be grounded, humble, or thankful, whatever the case may be. But now I totally see life in a whole different way.
Yes.
Yeah. Thankfulness is so vital, for sure. Seeing things from the lens of a thankful heart.
Yeah.
And really walking through long suffering creates that, being in the trenches with someone through thick and thin, in the moments where you would have given up 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Lets you know that you are not the same person.
That's right.
Who was 10 years ago.
No. And I think what's interesting is because, so when we met, it wasn't, we were together for a while, but I feel like, how you get to know somebody, even to this day, I'm sure you're getting to know your husband,
never ends.
Whatever, and all these little things. But I feel like to have your first child and being on the spectrum with somebody that you're also getting to know, like, to me, I'm like, if this doesn't make or break it, I don't know what can, because that itself is a lot.
That's right.
So the fact that, like I said before, it brought us together, I don't know if that was our purpose or not. You know what I mean?
And it really can do one of two things. And I think early on, Todd and I, we saw the statistics of divorce, of this ending in divorce, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And we just said, we're not going to be a statistic. Like, we're going to push into each other because we need each other more than ever. And I'm so grateful.
And you know what? I think, and I'm not saying, you know, if, of course, nobody wants a divorce and, you know, especially when it's over the kids or especially, you know, with a child with a disability, it's unfortunate. But if it's hard for the actual parents, who's to say that it won't be hard if you're separated or dating somebody else or you're with somebody else, because they don't know.
And how much harder,
that's not their child.
And on top of that, compounding it, how much harder it is on the child who doesn't understand their world they're in to be thrown into yet another situation.
I think once you find the common denominator between you and your partner of how to move forward or what sticks you guys together to move forward for your child, I think you're golden, you know, once you figure it out. But but it's hard, you know, whether you were already having problems before, you know, marriage and relationships is hard already. And then add that to the mix is a lot. But I feel like if you both have that good intention, you both want the best for the child, that right there should be more than a motivation to bring you together.
For sure.
Push through.
For sure. And I think at the end of the day, if you are watching this and you are a parent to a child with autism and you haven't yet, just don't look at the statistics.
Yeah.
They're annoying. They're just annoying. Every last statistic out there, and you are not a statistic.
You're not.
Don't trust it. It's trash. It's garbage. You are not a statistic. So, all right. The 3 hardest things about raising your child.
I would say the 3 hardest things is the expectation that society has for your child and for you as a parent. And I would say also the different challenges that you face every day as your child gets older, as you know, as children tend to do, they get older and then you're dealing with different things. You know, once you feel like I feel like once you've like, I think I mastered it. No, because now you're going into a next phase.
A whole new set of things.
Yeah, and then what would you say for the last?
The scheduling, just the scheduling of, you know, trying to fit both of our schedules together with his school drop-offs, his therapies, his doctor's appointments, his, you know, pediatrician, his neurologist.
It's like a whole job in itself. You know,
we even have a holistic pediatrician for him. So it's like
all these, you know, things, trying to work our schedule for it, just, you know, trying to make everything work between us as entrepreneurs, and then also, you know, with him and all his stuff. Plus the little one, so she has her doctor's appointments and everything too, and daycare and all that. So it's like, you know, it's there's
just a lot.
Not enough hours,
right? And God forbid somebody gets sick on top of all of it. Like, oh man, yes,
it literally sets you back 100%.
Oh man,
your whole day.
Yes.
What's that song? 1 step forward and 2 steps back. That's how it feels sometimes.
Oh my God. I'm like, no, you can't get sick.
You know,
not happening.
Then having 2, one gets
then
it passes to the other, and then it's like,
for
sure.
It's challenging for sure. Yeah, those were great, y'all.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. One last big question we're going to ask you guys.
Sure.
What is one thing that you could tell a family who's going through it, a family who may be struggling, may not know where to turn, what to do? They're just figuring this thing out. Maybe they're just got their diagnosis. They're in that stage. You guys know what I'm talking about. What is one thing that you would tell them just to encourage them?
So I'll speak on my behalf as a woman, and I'll let Dad do his thing too. I would say for a woman and as a mom, if you're in this nitty gritty right now, just don't lose hope. Because it is so easy to lose that hope and to lose that faith or anything that you're thinking. It is so quick to just spiral down, but don't lose it, because I've been in that dark place. And like I said before, I've been in that self-blame and you know, nobody could tell me anything because this is just how I feel. But I promise you, once you give yourself that grace, once you find yourself coming out of that darkness, whatever it is, whether you find therapy, whether it's church related, whether it's whatever it is that you find that peace within yourself. And as much as you're walking through that dark tunnel, you feel like you're not going to see that light. I promise you and I assure you, because I was there 100%. When I walked out of that dark tunnel and I saw that light, I was like, oh my God, like I didn't think this day was going to happen. Yeah. And once you come out into that shining bright light, like it's endless for you. Like all the possibilities that you had, everything that you wanted to do, plus more, all these ideas. And the fact that you're advocating for your child and helping for him is the biggest gift that you can give yourself. Yeah. So don't lose hope. Just keep pushing. Surround yourself by people that are going to advocate for you, that are going to be there for you, that are going to nourish you and help you mentally. And again, sometimes, family might not be that big support, and that's okay. Right. You can find friends. You can find, groups, anybody. As long as you are in that right circle, that's all you need. And it doesn't need to be a certain type, because I know a lot of people also struggle with families being acceptance of their situation, and that could be really hard because you rely on your family. But to be honest with you, I think for me, because I had the support of him, I felt like that's all I really needed. And I wasn't looking for my family for the support. I think I was looking in it more for myself and who's out there that can relate to me, right? Because if you can't relate to me, not that I'm saying you can't be any help, but I just needed somebody to know what I was going through, to sympathize exactly what I was going through. So support groups are out there. You guys are doing an amazing job creating this podcast for people, whether it's just listening and they're not chiming in, but they feel better, right? Because each segment that you might have could be relatable to somebody. Absolutely. So them just listening, that's an outlet. So you guys are doing great. I think this is amazing. And there's so much more help, I don't think I had those resources at the time, but the fact that you guys are doing this and there's so much resources, there's no reason to lose hope. There's something out there for everybody.
I love that so much.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to say, speak to the dads, right? The acceptance of it, right? The faster you accepting it, don't be in denial. Don't start a riff with your wife.
Yeah.
Be supportive of her, right?
Yeah.
She's going through a lot. You might be going through a lot, but you can't or don't want to express it as much, right? Just be supportive of her, help her out, be the rock for the family, but also be involved, right? Be involved, be acceptance. That helps with the healing process.
Yes.
For sure.
That's amazing. I love
Guys, that was awesome. Yes. That was so good. I love that. People needed to hear that. I know we did. People need to hear it.
I love hearing from other fathers, because there's a void almost in this community of dads, and there shouldn't be. I believe y'all are so vital to our kids and to this community. So I just think that's amazing, Jeff.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with her, she has some clients and says, "Can your husband talk to my husband because he's not on board of what I'm trying to do and stuff like that." And then I try to help out as much as I can, talking to the dads.
But it's hard. It's not like women. Like they'll be like, okay, or like you can pull them. Right. Dads are a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have him for you. It's just I can't bring him to you. Like, it's a 50-50 thing. So it's something that we're also trying to create awareness as well. Like we want to help, whether it's me helping the mom or like him talking to a dad, And I think as much as I would think it would be an easier thing because it's a man-to-man, it's actually not as
we're more guarded
than you
think.
The pride that's there sometimes can get in the way.
Is the pride,
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and
awesome.
And just not fully. I know a lot of the men that we've talked to in the past. It's like it's hard for them to accept it sometimes.
For sure.
But it's like you said, get on the acceptance train. Let's
go.
Yeah.
As soon as you are able to accept, then you can start advocating.
Yeah.
And once you advocate for your kid, you'll be the best dad you ever thought you could be.
That's right.
And then some.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And, I think for dads, it might be harder because, dads are so used to like, oh, my son's going to play football or my son's going to do this and my son's going to do that. And to be honest with you, I literally feel like these kids are so unique and so smart in their own way that to me, I'm like, okay, he might not play football, but you don't know who he's going to be.
That's right.
You don't know what he's going to be, what he's going to do. And, you know, not that I'm saying playing a sport is everything, but for my son, for example, he's nonverbal. The fact that my son literally knows how to read a book, he knows how to maneuver his iPad. He knows how to go into Proloquo, which is his AAC device. And it amazes me because sometimes I try to put myself in his shoes and I'm like, oh my God, if I couldn't speak, like, would I have the capacity to do what you do?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because he has to get his point across.
They have to figure out ways that we just couldn't.
Yes. And I see that he's very gadgety. Like, he thrives off of gadgets, but he does so good at figuring things out. The other day I saw him with one tablet. He had 2 screens. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, if he got out of it, I couldn't help him.
These kids are so smart.
I don't even know what he did.
I'm telling you. I love it.
So for me, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm like, whatever it is that he's going to be in life and whatever it is that he's aspiring to be, that's just what it's going to be. And if he's going to be, I don't know, a wizard for computers or whatever, hey, more power to him, because people go to school for that. Like, I'm not a gadgety person.
I know I wouldn't mind being Elon Musk's dad. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I mean, they're going to want to hire people like that. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to let go of those stereotypes. Like, I know we all want this and we want that. But I think whatever, especially for our children who, like for my daughter, she might be more verbal and say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, or I want to be this, and I want to be that. That's fine. But the fact that our children become something, whatever it is, we're not molding them. We're not telling them. They can't even tell us. They're finding their own direction. So whatever my son is going to be in life, I'm going to be so proud of him and encourage him, because he did that on his own. I didn't do it.
You get behind him.
You get to champion him.
Exactly.
And I love that they're not influenced by anybody else. It's what they truly love.
No, it's their own thing. So that's why I say sometimes we get fixated on what societal roles, I should say. And, you know, like I said all the time, I'm like, you know, I tell him, I'm like, hey, if our son doesn't play a sport, is that going to bother you? Like, is it a make or break deal? But the fact that my son can figure out what he wants without us guiding him or without us putting him stuff, to me, that's amazing.
That's awesome, isn't it?
And you just never know. We met a mom a few weekends ago, and her kid not only was
a valedictorian, broke the school's GPA record, 4.8.
And he's an all-star athlete.
Was a D1 recruit in 4 different sports, had $1.5 million of scholarships, couldn't speak till he was 8 years old.
Come on. You just never know, and that's the sky's the limit. We can't put limits on them, because we have no idea who they'll be or what they'll do. I love that.
Yep.
Well, guys, Jeff, Jessica, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
y'all. And listen, if you're watching this episode or you're listening to this episode, show them some love.
Yes.
Go on Autism Superhero on their Instagram. Check them out. Follow them. Order some merch from them, guys. Yeah, look at the shirts. Yay. Show them off.
Yeah,
you got some shirts.
I love it.
So show them some love. This couple, they're amazing people. Yes. You guys are awesome. We're so glad to have interviewed y'all.
Much.
Yeah, y'all have encouraged us so much as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
No, likewise.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
Well, you want to pray us out, Amanda?
Yeah. Let's say a quick prayer.
Okay.
Lord, we just thank you for today. We thank you for this episode and all of the encouragement that's just gone forth. I just thank you for Jeff and Jessica and Jackson and their whole family full of J's. I love it so much. And Lord, I just ask that you'd use their story today just to touch someone's life, that maybe there's a place in there that just really resonated with someone. Maybe they're needing some life coaching. They're needing someone to help them through the beginning process, and they've got Jessica's contact info right there ready to go. And I just bless them, and I bless their son. And I thank you once again for today and for this episode. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Yes. Well, I'm Todd.
Thank you.
I'm Amanda.
Jeff and Jessica, and we are Not an Island Podcast. Until next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.